End to the number of corruption cases in Albany, but one state senator is hoping to finally see that change from a political standpoint. Liz Krueger has created a political action committee to support what she calls good government candidates. It is called No Bad Apples, and tomorrow the senator is launching a new website to support this PAC. She's joining me now from New York City with a little bit of a preview. Senator, it's good to see you.
Nice to talk to you, Liz.
So you and I actually talked originally about this in late May, and we knew that this was coming down the pike eventually. You actually had your first fundraiser even. How did that go?
It went terrific. There was a lot of energy. There were new people in the room who haven't necessarily been involved in state government. And I think that they heard me loud and clear that we need great people to consider running for office. We need new generations entering the legislature. My focus, of course, are Democrats joining the state Senate. But I talked to them about the fact that I was drafted almost against my will the first time I ran for office. And I think that it's time for people like me to reach out to other good people who believe in government, who believe in democracy, and convince them that maybe it's their time to decide to be an elected official.
Okay, so the first financial filing is due publicly. It was actually, the cutoff was midnight yesterday for raising money, but the financial filing's due to be reported on Friday. So will you be in the six figures, maybe? Will you hit the seven figures?
We won't hit the seven figures.
Okay,
that was unrealistic. I'm very pleased with what we're going to be able to file
Senator,
with.
That's all.
I know.
Establishing.
No, we're not running for president. We're doing a relatively small PAC to target several strong candidates. We think at the end of the day we'll probably only be working full-time with two candidates for the state Senate. And it's way too early for us to be narrowing down. But I have to tell you, even though really the kickoff is now and NoBadApplesPAC.org will go live tomorrow, we've already had quite a few people reach out to myself and my staff person saying, hey, I'm interested. I'm potentially interested in donating. I'm interested in volunteering. Maybe I'm someone who should be considered as a candidate.
So this website that you are debuting, it has some interactive capability, is that right?
Yes, and to confess, I am not a new age techie. So
so you're not tweeting.
So I know
Senator?
that we have a tweeting, there's a Twitter account, there's a Facebook.
Very good.
And there is the actual website. So if you go on NoBadApples.org, or if you look at our Facebook and you're a new media person, you're going to figure all of that out.
Okay. You know, you and I discussed this before. You made it clear that you don't intend to challenge your colleagues, although you've been quite upfront in saying that there are problems inside your own conference, clearly. However, you are focused on trying to get the Democrats back into the majority. On the flip side, though, to call something no bad apples is kind of, I don't know, hurtful. What's the response been from your colleagues?
Well, in fact, I think most of my colleagues completely understand what I'm trying to do. I have very good relationships with Mike Gianaris, the chair of the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee, with John Sampson. I have been the chair of DSCC in the past.
Right.
I understand the challenge for DSCC, and I am totally supportive of their bigger, broader agenda to make sure that good incumbents remain in their seats and that more Democrats are brought in. What I'm focusing on is a much more hands-on technical assistance, reach out and find some people who are not necessarily right now the obvious candidates. Hopefully at the end of the day, they will be an attractive candidate for the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee to be interested in, because I'm focusing on good government people. I think very well other specific issue-oriented PACs may find these are good candidates for them. For example, I can't imagine not supporting a pro-choice candidate to join me in the state Senate. So I believe that I'm going to be working with candidates who might very well be able to draw on the support of pro-choice voters and organizations in the state. Environmental advocates in the state who are involved in politics. I really do believe there are substantive policy issues that you can show you are sophisticated and concerned about as a candidate, and that you can have a fundamental belief in fair and equitable and good government.
Right.
I can't imagine not working with candidates who believe in independent redistricting.
Well,
and I'm hoping that that's a big priority for us all.
Okay, pardon me, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'd be surprised if you backed anybody who wasn't a choice candidate too, since you are the founder of the Choice Conference, I mean, inside the legislature. You know, we recently spoke to Mike Gianaris. He was here actually to talk about independent redistricting reform, and I did ask him at the end of that about fundraising, and he said that since he's taken over, he has managed to eat down the debt. However, the filing on Friday will show a continued debt for the general campaign committee for the Senate Democrats. Do you not think, though, you're a prodigious fundraiser, that your efforts might be better placed, if you will, to assist the Gianaris and others in trying to pay down that debt?
No, I'm a okay fundraiser, for the record. It's actually the thing I dislike most about politics, and I'm a big supporter of campaign finance.
You do okay.
Well, because I've had to accomplish my goals. I don't think that supporting DSCC in their effort and my project, No Bad Apples, are in conflict with each other at all. I will continue to be supportive of DSCC, of helping them get out of debt, of helping them do everything they need to do to take back the majority. But I also think that I might have some special skills in working with first-time candidates, with people who, like myself, had other careers focused on public service and public policy, but never really entertained the idea of running for office. I think, as you know, there are people who seem to be born and say, I'm going to be governor or I'm going to be president someday.
Right.
And there are other people who are equally talented and skilled who actually have to be convinced this is the right direction for them. And I actually think the state of New York is well served if we go and do some outreach to people who have talent, have intellect, believe in the right things, and to be frank, haven't ever imagined being an elected official
Senator,
before.
the reason why I asked, though, is because, and I might be wrong about this, but I think I'm right, the Senate Democrats also took out a loan and have a history of taking out loans, borrowing money to put everything on the table to try and win the majority. Were not successful the last time around. And I think that individual members are personally on the hook for that, aren't they? If the loan gets defaulted.
I'm one of those personal members.
You are?
Yes,
okay.
I have signed. Absolutely. Every time the Senate Democrats have taken out a loan, I have signed paperwork, and I will, of course, make good on that if we are not able to raise the money.
Right.
Look, I'm a Democrat. I believe in the Democratic Party, and I believe that a good Democratic majority will be better for the state of New York when we take back the Senate. I want to make sure when I'm sitting in that majority after 2012 election, I've got the right Democrats sitting right next to me.
You know, campaign finance reform, of course, has been something that I think you and your colleagues, or your reform-minded colleagues, have talked about a lot. The governor talked about it, too. Of course, none of this would be necessary if there was a public campaign finance system, because people would be able to use public cash to run. Are you disappointed that the governor hasn't pushed for that? And I know good government officials are, in fact, hoping that he will.
I am one of those public officials who's hoping that the governor will come out strongly for campaign finance reform and public financing. Now, to be fair to the governor, he's only been in office 7 months.
It's just he's gotten
a lot accomplished. And I think most people think we got a lot accomplished, absolutely.
Right.
So, you know, I am not going to sit here and be critical of Andrew Cuomo, why didn't you get that done yet? But I am hopeful that this is an issue he will take on, along with the independent redistricting. Now, of course, we've got the added challenge of very bad federal Supreme Court decisions that are putting at risk public financing around the country. So I think we need to do this, and we need to do it right.
Just before I let you go, unfortunately, we're out of time. Do you have any news yet about when and if the Senate will be back in Albany before the end of the summer?
I'm hoping we'll be back soon. I feel very strongly we need to pass the health exchange legislation.
Right.
I think that it's the right thing for everyone for PEF, the biggest state union, and the governor to complete their negotiations in a way that stops the layoff of important state workers. So they need to finish their negotiations, and then we're going to need to pass enacting legislation for whatever that deal is. I would like us to deal with independent redistricting. I have Republican colleagues who say it's too late. Well, it's not too late, but sooner versus later would be better.
Okay, well, we will keep an eye out tomorrow for the launch of your website for the PAC. I want to thank you very much, Senator Liz Krueger, for coming by. It's great to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you, Liz.